Hi, everybody from Swain County High School. It's Maroon Devil football time right here on the Maroon Devils Network. And joining me, of course, as always, every week, head coach Sherman Holt. And, Coach, I tell you what, man, it's just a great time of the year. You know, the leaves are beautiful and the weather's hard to believe. We're looking at 70s here in October and conference championship coming up this week. But, hey, let's go back and talk about Cherokee a little bit. Crazy game. The lights went out on us, but a real solid effort by our Maroon Devils last Friday.
Yeah, you know, we started good. Offense firing on all cylinders, scored a couple touchdowns early and kicked a field goal in the first quarter. So got on the board quick and kind of kept our foot on the gas. And, you know, defense played tremendous. And, you know, the one we give up, the one score, it was kind of a little breakdown, lack of communication. But, you know, it's always good to see our kids, you know, overcome a little bit of adversity here and there, and how are we going to respond when bad things happen. And so just good overall effort. Kicking game was good. Brendan Landon done a real good job, kicked a field goal there at the end of the first quarter. And so just overall good effort. You know, you like to see those young kids get in there too and have success. So overall, it was a good night for us, and you know, just glad that we come out pretty healthy and you know, moving on to the next one.
Oh, no doubt. Talking about the young guys, of course, last Friday was senior night. Those old guys were in the spotlight some, and this group of seniors on this football team is really, really special. I know, you know, these guys, they struggled and fought through last year, and, man, they're reaping some of the rewards and success of this year, but this is a really special group.
Yeah, you know, a lot of leadership in those guys, and, you know, that it's like what you talked about, the struggle of maybe last season and most definitely in the off season. You know, we challenged them in November when we got beat in the second round, and we said, guys, we got to dedicate ourselves to the weight room and getting bigger, faster, stronger, being in better conditioning. And so it was just one of those things that those senior leaders, they embraced it, they pushed their teammates, and so starting to reap some of those benefits. And, you know, it's kind of a bittersweet night. You know, you love recognizing those seniors and celebrating them, but you also kind of, you know, their time is drawing close to near as far as their football career. And you know, but we told them, you know, if we keep winning, you know, we can play for a lot more times. And so it's just one of those things you enjoy celebrating your seniors, but it's kind of a bittersweet moment.
It is. Coach, we have some special people we want to thank this week, I'm sure, as it's hard to believe this is the last week of the regular season with the finale coming up on Friday at Robbinsville. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But so many good people have stepped up to be a part of this program.
Yeah, you know, this week it's kind of a little change up. Chief Hicks in his office and the vice chief, they fed our team yesterday after practice, and so we enjoyed having them down. And Chief Hicks talked to the team, and so it's always good to get people that are not necessarily in a power role, but somebody that has achieved success and is in a leadership role in our community, getting to talk to these young people and trying to encourage them not only to, you know, strive after their athletic goals, but their goals in life and becoming a good person and a good pillar of the community. So we enjoyed that visit yesterday, and then today actually our moms are going to feed. Team moms are feeding the kids, and so looking forward to that meal. And so a little change up this week, you know, trying to, you know, get a little different type of food and stuff. But, again, we appreciate those people. Our cafeteria staff, as always, they do a real good job of feeding us an after practice snack on Mondays and Wednesdays too. And so it's one of those things where we just got a lot of people that help us, and we're thankful for that. And I think Midway Baptist Church is feeding our pregame meal tomorrow, and so we appreciate the folks at Midway for serving our kids and making sure they got a good full stomach to go to Robbinsville. And so it's just it takes a village, and we got a pretty good village, and we appreciate those people that sacrifice their time, their money, and everything to serve our kids.
Yeah. Coach, talking about Robbinsville, I've got to believe, I know there are some really good backs around Western North Carolina. You think about the Dimsdale kid at West Henderson, the kid who's been hurt most of the year over at Reynolds, a very good running back as well. But I really can't believe there are any backs in the mountains at any classification that are better than the two backs we're going to see this Friday night at Robbinsville. I'm talking about our Josh Collins and Cutler Adams of Robbinsville. You look at their numbers, the way these kids play. They play defense. They play so much, and they're tough kids. Both guys on the same field. Obviously, it's going to be a fan's delight to watch these kids play.
Yeah, two special kids. I've got to, I don't know Cutler that well, but I've met him a handful of times and talked to him, and he seems like a real good young person and just a great kid from what I know of him. And I've talked to him on the phone a time or two, and it's one of those things where you like to see good kids have success on the field of play. And you talk about two backs. Josh and Cutler, they've had tremendous careers and having tremendous years, and it's going to be a game where they get to go head to head, and I'm sure that's probably in the back of their minds, both of them. Because you kind of you want to show out when you play the best, and I think that's what you got here is two really good football teams with really good football players on them. So I would say that both sides are really excited. I know our kids are excited for the opportunity to play for a conference championship, and it's against a team that's kind of had our number the last 4 or 5 years, and so we're just we've had a real good week of practice. Kids have been focused. We've had real good film studies and sessions on the board talking about the game plan, how we're going to attack, and so it's just it's made for a real good week. And I guess they say the old saying, you save the best for last, and this is it, because it's for all the marbles, and conference championships on the line, a playoff seed, it's either going to be a 1 or a 2 somewhere in there. So it's got a lot of importance, a lot of riding on the game. So I don't think we've not really blew that out of proportion to our kids this week, but they understand how important it is and what goes along with this one. It's not just any other game. You approach it with the same levels of preparation as a game, but in the back of your mind, if you're playing for the SMC championship, that means a lot to our kids and our community, and so want to be on our A game and be very efficient Friday.
Oh, no doubt. We're talking about the toughest 1A conference in the state of North Carolina here at the Smoky Mountain Conference. And you talk about two really good backs like Cutler Adams, like our Josh Collins. And sometimes, Coach, you see this happen sometimes in basketball. You have two great shooters who average 25 points a game going head-to-head, and they kind of cancel each other out. So in that kind of a situation, all these other guys on the team, they really have to step up and be aware, because they can really be the difference in this kind of a contest, can't they?
Yeah, it's one of those things where I told our kids after practice yesterday, everybody's got to understand their role and their job Friday night, and you got to embrace that. And if your number's called, you got to answer the call. Pick the phone up. That's what we say. If the phone rings, pick it up. So we've got a lot of kids prepared, and we've kind of developed some kids the last 2 or 3 weeks, whether it be due to injury or just what we were playing, the scheme-wise. And so it's one of those things where, you still got to send 11 out there. Just because we got a good one and they got a good one, that ain't the only good ones, And so it's one of those things where, it's 11 on 11 for a reason, and, of course, we're excited, for Josh and what he's done, and I'm sure they're excited for Cutler and what he's done. But it's not just about, it's not Josh Collins versus Cutler Adams. It's Robbinsville versus Swain, and so it's going to take a team effort. We got to, our kids gotta execute at a high level. Robbinsville's a good football team, and they're coached well, and so it's just one of those things where this week has had a little different zing to it, I guess you could say, because our kids are excited, and we're, I feel like we've had a real good week of practice.
Yeah. Coach, you talked about this a little bit. We're playing for a conference championship. Looking back all the way back to last year, what do you think are some of the big differences in this football program right now versus that football program last year. I know, of course, that was your first year, and there were, changes. Everything goes through a process. But again, these kids really hung in there. They didn't give up, and now they're seeing the benefits of what you and your coaching staff have put together. And when you're 9-0 playing for a conference championship, that's a rare thing. It doesn't happen every day. So again, hats off to you and these kids for really hanging in there and working hard, and it's really showing.
Yeah, I think the biggest credit is to what our kids did in the off season. And I mentioned, it's not a process that started just 3 months ago. We got beat at Thomasville second week of November last year, and we come in Monday into the field house. I set them down in the locker room, and we were very honest with ourselves. And I challenged them to change the way that they approach the weight room, the way they approach the off season, the conditioning program. And our kids did a real good job of that, and they've put a lot of hard work, sweat, and time into being 9-0. And that it's a big part of the game as far as your strength and conditioning, and so that's part of it. Yeah. The other part I would say is our senior leadership. Right. You're only as good as your leaders, and I'm not saying that we didn't have good leaders last year, but we've got a real good group of senior leaders that they kind of run the team. And the best teams are player-led, not coach-led. Coaches, we're here to kind of guide them and kind of push them in the right direction if they need push. But for the most part, if you have kids that are willing to accept responsibility and ownership of the team, that's when you really can achieve a lot of growth. And, I think that's part of it. And then part of it is, we had a lot of returning pieces of that puzzle that got game experience, and there's no substitute for that. And it's kind of been the perfect storm. And our kids have just played tremendous football, and even when we didn't play great football, we never quit. They kept struggling and straining, and showed tremendous character in a couple ball games that people probably thought, we're not going to win this one. So it's just a testament to the kids. Testament to our coaches that have put in the time and the game planning and just getting our kids prepared, because that's a big part of it, and it's kind of been just a perfect storm of those 3 or 4 things that have kind of combined to get us to where we are. And the good thing is our kids are not satisfied being 9-0, and that's what you always got to battle when you achieve success. And being undefeated, you got to kind of be humble, and our kids have done a real good job of that, of being humble and hungry and showing up to work on Mondays and having good weeks of practice and playing good on Friday night. To do that over and over and over, that takes some commitment and dedication. And so just proud of our kids of what they've done to this point, and looking forward to seeing what we can accomplish, in the future.
No doubt. Fans, it's hard to believe, but coming up next Friday is going to be playoff round number 1. We really feel like we're going to be here at home in round number 1, and maybe even more here on the State 1A playoffs. And it's time for you to show up and show out and have a good time, because it's Maroon Devil time right here on the Maroon Devils Network.